What? Let me check. I did. Oh. Found all, yes, I got. There it is. Thank you so much. It says it's joining. Morning, sir.
How you doing?
I'm doing well.
It's good.
How about you?
Yes, sir. I'm doing good.
All right. How to get back? I need to remind me what I need to do to turn my computer audio off.
Get your microphone.
It is muted now. And I'm going to kill my video. So.
Maybe it's your speaker on.
This turns on. Muted. I just need to turn. Need to turn the volume off in Zoom. Because it's coming to here, I think. Well, I have the speakers muted. This is the new one.
Send it out.
How about now? How about now? Can you, is it echoing? It's not echoing now. Okay.
Mrs. Voice?
Yes, sir.
Are we live on YouTube?
Yes, we are.
You know what's wrong with it?
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Are we ready to commence with our workshop, budget workshop? I'll call us to order at 9:05 on Tuesday, August the 1st. And I'll just recap where we were at when we last, actually, when we talked about the elected officials' salary, and we hadn't gotten a consolidated total until that morning that we were supposed to elect, or supposed to approve the elected officials, and it wasn't where it needed to be. And so we did not approve the elected officials until we could look at it and resolve the issues. And I'm proud to say that a lot of people got involved, and we really fine-tuned things. We met with the sheriff and with the DA and Sandy and myself, and to go over the House Bill 22, which allows for the grant money for the sheriff's office of $500,000 and grant money for the DA's office for $275,000 and grant money for the constables. And so we figured out how we were going to incorporate that, and using what we know right now. The grant does not, we cannot apply for the grant until January 1st, but it will be, we will be able to use the funds for money for the current year budget. In other words, for October, November, and December, those grant funds can be backfilled for that. The way, if we handle it, if we set it up correctly. So that's what we worked on that. And then we also worked on, I went in through the entire budget and reviewed it with the different department heads, and there was categories that I felt like needed to be addressed, that we wouldn't ever hit the budget numbers that they put in there. So I went and talked to them, asked them what number they were comfortable with. And there were some increases too, as well. There were some decreases and there were some increases. And the net effect of those changes was a total of $675,000 reduced expenses. Now 300 or 400,000 of that came out of the public buildings account, which we had at 750,000 for doing repairs to the courthouse. It's now down to 350,000. But I'm very happy with where we're at right now. we're just here to go through it, let you see what the salaries are going to be, or what the salaries are proposed to be. We've done this before, and we didn't get through it entirely, and it's changed somewhat, especially on the sheriffs. And so what we're going to do is explain that, and I'm glad the sheriff's here today so that he can discuss that with him, or discuss that with us. There's your copy. So with that being said, are there any questions or comments before we get started?
Just email it to us. It's now.
All right, so I'm gonna share the screen, and I gotta figure out how to get it using a different computer here. Well, I can't, but this will get us the most part. So we will go over the sheriff's department right now. Let me share the screen so the viewers at home can see what we're seeing. There we go. All right. So here is the and what we did with this grant money of $500,000 for the sheriff's department is we allocated $920 for each eligible person, $9,200 increase for the year for each eligible person from the grant guidelines. And so here you see we've got each one of these going down here, and what the increase amount and then the total down there. Now most everybody in the sheriff's department was eligible, and now we've also upped the sheriff's salary to $75,000, which is a part of the requirements for the grant itself, is that the sheriff must be making $75,000. And again, grant money will help us get him to that. So, and then there's you see others that did not qualify for the grant money based on their position. So they were actually coming, the increase amount is coming out of our budget in that regard. And so you see the totals all the way down there. So that totals out.
So excuse me, let me ask a question. So from what we originally were gonna give all of them out there, we're giving them more now?
Yes. Because we have the $500,000 grant.
Why can't that $500,000 go towards what we were giving?
It is. See, what you see is the full-time increase in this column is related to the grant. And it can't go, or it according to the requirements, the other positions don't qualify for that grant money.
No, I'm talking about why can't the grant go towards what we agreed to give earlier? We were all good on the amount that what we were gonna give, but all agreed on it.
The grant is much more than what we agreed to give earlier.
We didn't raise them $500,000 as a whole. At first, we didn't have the money, but now we got the $500,000 grant. So we can give them more than $500,000. But it has to go to the sheriff's department only.
Can you step in if I'm okay.
The grant solved a lot, all of our problems.
None of the money for every position at the county jail qualifies for the grant. Because it says that individual attends to an inmate. So every position in the jail qualifies. So this would be what the county was responsible for. I just had to do some pennies and nickels to get them to the.
Whole dollar.
But we moved every one of their salary increases from the county to the comptroller's office. And they requested the judge, sheriff came up with $9,200. That's what, and that $9,200 is also including their benefits. There's another, I had to do 3 salary structures for the jail this year. In your packet, in your drive-in, you'll find one that's just strictly what the county's responsible for, one that the grant will cover, and then this one's the consolidated. So they will actually get paid. I had to set up a separate fund for the supplements. So they'll be it's fund 133. So this 9,200 won't even come out of the county money. It'll come out of the fund 133, which will be the grant.
What do you mean it includes their benefits?
It does include their benefits, Social Security, retirement, unemployment, workshop.
But so they're not actually gonna take home that much.
No, they will.
This will be their salary. This will be their actual salaries, but they're gonna be paid out in 2 different funds. They're gonna be paid out of county funds and they'll be paid out of the grant funds, but they'll only get them a check. It'll just come from 2 separate ones.
The 9,200 is, it was 10,000. That we're gonna give you each person, but we reduced it down to 9,200 to account for $800 in benefits. Which is the FICA taxes and the retirement that has to pay. That's why it's not 10,000, it's 9,200.
So if you look at the increased salary, you can see what these positions will now pay. A corrections officer will now be making $47,256. I believe in prior to, we had them budgeted at 44. So if the grant comes through, we were able to move them up to 47,256. Now, all of the jail qualified, so the jail, we got to free up that money to give to other employees on the general fund side. And if you'll go down the sheriff, now I didn't take any, you said, I put the sheriff out of all county funds, his rates. So that the 9,200 would, now I can change that if you prefer. But, see, only the patrol people qualified for the grant, like CID, they don't control. The chief deputy, he doesn't control. These people up here, we had to just pay them $9,200 out of county funds because they don't qualify. All the patrol side is to qualify for the 92, the 10,000 basically for the salary. And when we got finished, I think we still had like 25,000 and we just moved it down to equipment.
Right.
Because the grant also will pay for equipment, cars, firearms. So our thinking is we'll be able to amend this budget so that any vacant openings at the end of the year, you know, because their vacancy, we're sure we'll have that money available. So we'll do an amendment, move it down to vehicles, and then pay the remainder of what we don't spend out of that funds. Just transfer it over to vehicles. We don't want to send any of it back.
Well, the sheriff personnel that didn't qualify for the grant, we just paid them out of the county, and that's what the grant was going to pay.
We're paying $9,200 to each of them. 10 basically, because that covers it.
Is that in range with your competitors, Joe?
Well, it may be
I mean,
now.
I know they get the 500.
But they're all getting the,
Well, the cities don't though.
no, that's correct. Cities don't, but the other counties will get, all the counties around.
So, yeah, we've got, I mean, the counties are gonna get the same money we've got. Will this help? Oh, yes, sir. Will it fix it?
Well, it's not a fix, but it helps.
Yes, sir.
But it's gonna help me compete against the cities.
Yes, sir.
I guess my question to you, Sheriff, is for purposes of if the comptroller's office comes back and asks us for documentation on the, but it does say that the officer has to do patrol signs. Will you be able to provide reports to my office through patrol signs from it? Does each officer document
Yes, ma'am.
dogs? That may be a factor we have to look at, once we get the grant, and we see what they're gonna look for.
Are you talking about a traffic stop?
Just stops, it doesn't say traffic, it just says,
Could be welfare checks.
it just says,
We have,
There was a lot.
That's fine.
our dispatch that maintain the dispatch logs. And we can show what days, what all.
and again, we met with Honda. And Honda said that we are well within.
Well, then what?
Grant of the grant.
Well, I know the wording is on, there's no standing by this patrol officer. A patrol deputy. Is what law designated.
It says that 45,000 for each deputy makes about 50 stops in the work performance of their duties. And it's already will stop, be an act traffic accident, that my understanding.
Somebody text Keegan.
It's awful, like, speaking of these, we got there looking at how to play, how to have, they are, we got on the red, everybody was on location. We can run reports to this on down the track.
That's why we didn't include the chief deputy or card sergeant, CID. You know, they're not actually.
Yeah,
They're not
right,
making bonds.
yeah.
Okay, what's this gonna do to us when this grant goes away? How we gonna-
The grant's good for this year or for 2024 and 2025. And we'll have to address what to do after that. But it's good for 2 years. 2 separate years, 500,000, 275. We'll address it when we get there. Okay, so any issues with this? Is there anything that we need to change?
There may be a couple of things we can talk to you about. There's nothing major, just on a couple of salary pay adjustments.
Okay. But you're happy pretty much with what we've got, other than a few items. All right. Is there any questions?
Can we go ahead and talk about the two he's talking about since we're on the sheriff's department? Want to move on?
We can?
There's two, I guess.
Well, actually, we don't know if you missed them or not, so we'll see. It's animal control and criminal case coordinator, is that correct?
Yes.
They're at 43.
The location coordinator's position. More increases that.
Yes,
And our, we've been, is 43, and so is the records management. And evidence today. 38,055.95. Here.
yes,
We've written salaries for these two positions. What we did was we moved those two veterans that get over and agreed, they carried over the salary amount from the two positions, which was higher than what the summer position, a little higher than what the summer positions were.
right,
And that's why I like this back
okay. Back to what?
on this criminal case coordinator.
So they're all the same as he's down here, 43?
Yes, sir, I believe that's what we talked about.
I think we did 41 on one off. How am I not?
Yes, sir. Well, the numbers.
41.
Okay. 41, case coordinator.
Okay,
The animal control position we had a field.
And we also discussed removing the, which I think we did, the part-time, transport.
Yes, sir. The position's been open since,
We removed it.
before we got, came over to sheriff. And
That was 32,000. So we removed it.
then we got this list.
It is.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
So we're making the criminal case coordinator 41,000,
yes, sir.
and what are we doing to animal control?
Leave where it's at.
Leave it where it's at.
All right. Any other changes?
No, sir, I believe. Settle that together.
Right here.
We got the 9,200.
Yes, sir. Okay. Good.
We're good?
Thank you.
All right.
But I didn't take either one of those out of the grant funds because he doesn't, he started papers,
Yes, sir.
he doesn't control.
Right.
And Aaron McLeish. She doesn't control.
Right.
So I left them, I didn't put them in the grant.
Yes, sir. So. Very. Okay.
All right. You
Good.
good? Those are for you. All right. Where would you like to go next? We have all the general county positions or the road and bridge.
Go to county.
All right.
I didn't.
All right, so there hasn't been any changes, well, the changes. We did. I'll just tell you what's changed since the last time we went through this and discussed it. I don't think we made it through all of it, so maybe we just go through each one. But the three, the tax assessor collector, the county clerk, and the district clerk. We have three grades, pay grades. One is the chief deputy, which we moved up to 43,000. Then there's an assistant deputy at 41,000. And then the clerks all are at 37,500. And that's consistent throughout all three departments. Okay. So human resources, we've added, we've made Emily full-time, so that's 37. You'll see the highlighted yellows. Emergency management, we upped Vicky McAllister to 12,000, added 6,000 to it. Henry Fontenot, we went to 17,000. And then district court coordinator, all the court coordinators are at 45,356. Okay, and then I'm just gonna scroll through here and just let me know if we need to stop and discuss it.
Hey.
Yes.
I'll make a suggestion. With all these grants that are coming in, you know, somebody found out about them, we got it. What if you move that collection to one of the clerks and let her do collections and part of that? And what if we thought about getting a grant writer?
Okay,
Because the courthouse, the sheriff's office, or the jail. I think if we had a grant writer, somebody. I'm not saying nobody knows what they're doing, but somebody that's specific in grant writing can find these grants I think it can pay for itself.
Okay.
This is.
I'll address that, two answers on that. One is, Cindy's informed us that if we get a grant writer, then we will need an additional person in her office to support the grant writer. So that's two people. Second of all, I talked with the Ellis County judge, Todd Little, and they have on their books, they have a position for grant writer open, paying $120,000 a year, and they can't fill it.
I was just trying.
I'm just telling you what we know right now.
Wondering, you might be able to borrow a civil attorney to help us out with our grant too, maybe. Over the DA's office,
Okay,
you know.
well, most likely the civil attorney will be in the courthouse here.
Yeah,
Yeah, so. But as other duties as assigned,
yeah,
is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
So we can try that, but we can't do
We
a
have to
position.
remember that that position is going, that position paid out of the grant is totally controlled by Tom.
Right.
We can't do
well, yeah, I know that, they, agreed to.
Well, there will be civil legal work that will need to be done on any grants that we do. And that they would be involved in that, and Tonda would not have to do it, because she's the one that we have doing it now. So it's just gonna take a workload off of Tonda. Yeah. Okay,
But back to this clerk stuff. So we're creating a new position called assistant deputy.
no, it's not a new position. It's people that are already doing that. There's different pay levels. So the issue is you don't want to have just a chief deputy and then everyone else being clerks, because you have like a supervisor level too, that each one of these clerks, each one of these departments have. And so that gives you the buffer between the chief deputy and the clerk.
So it is a new position.
No, it's not. It's
New title.
new title for existing
Yeah,
position.
that's pretty, you got it.
See,
It's a new position. It's got, I mean.
okay, look, that's right. Look at this right here. Look at this right here. You got a chief deputy right here at 35,905. That's the current salary. Okay. Then you have, it's assistant deputy, but I think she calls it, I don't think they calls it assistant deputy. She has a different position at 33, 105, and then everyone else is making the same. So we just titled it so that each one has these three positions, or those two positions right there. Those three.
The
Chief,
title did raise it by $9,800. You changed the title and raised it, gave them a $10,000 raise.
where did I give him the $10,000?
Assistant right here was making 31,1.
Oh, that's in the tax assessor collectors, yes.
Yeah,
We're getting everyone consistent.
we're not adding a position. We're just. I guess you could say you're adding a position with a different title, but we're not adding another position.
We've never been able to straighten this out. This is the first time you have made a good attempt at fixing the salary structure. That was the low end part of this. We power assistant deputy instead of that payroll.
Say what?
They took the lowest in the first position, pre-pilot assistant deputy, instead of like the rest of the pay versus the deputy. So they must have created movies one way and create one. We got this many people out there, this one's making a little more money for us.
I understand. Y'all can call it what you want. Basically, now we've got one less clerk and we've got a new supervisor. You created a new position and you did away with a position. You didn't change the person. But on paper, now you have, instead of having X amount of clerks, you've got an assistant chief clerk at making more money.
But I'm not a clerk, so. But to me, all the heads of the department wanted an assistant deputy, correct?
Yes.
And they run that
And
department,
chief deputy,
and they should be able to run the department they.
I agree with you, but folks, let's don't cover it up. Let's say we added a new position and did away.
we
with
did
it.
not add a new position. There's one, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6
You
positions
didn't add a
there.
person, Andy. You added a position. I didn't say you added any people. I understand you.
We redefined the position. That's all we did, redefine the position. So that it's consistent between all the departments. And it gives the clerks, the path of advancement. Okay, they can advance to the assistant deputy and then maybe eventually chief deputy. That is the plan.
So you restructured.
We redefined.
You restructured. Okay. Y'all can, you can hide behind the work games all you want. That whole thing's all changed up by adding a position and doing away with the position. That's fine. I just wanted to bring it out to the people that it was, that it's.
So we did away with the clerk and we added it as assistant deputy.
Okay, that's what we did. We did away with the clerk. We didn't change any people, but we changed the position. We changed the jobs. That's what you're saying.
Change the position.
Okay. All right. So. We'll keep going. I'm scrolling, right? We did, coordinator, same right there, they're all consistent throughout there. District clerk, again, same thing, you got the deputy and assistant deputy. And then the other clerks, you've got justice of the peace. And their clerks are all at 38.5, the justice JP courts. District attorney, this was all done by Tonda, and she's the one kind of controlling it. We pretty well left the salaries exactly the same as they were in fiscal 2023. And then for the positions that she's going to be filling or upgrading with the grant money. And then she asked that these two positions, the intake clerk and the receptionist, be increased to this amount right here. So that's what we did. Okay, the county auditor, same thing. Increase there. County treasurer, we have one deputy clerk there and one clerk, regular clerk.
I think that was supposed to have that paper clerk, wasn't I good?
Do what?
That's
Title
supposed
that?
to have our paper clerk.
No, let's not change. Let's not change. Well, at this point in time, what we need to do. We need to get with HR to find out the correct terminology, consistent terminology for the different positions before we do it on publicly. Because right now, like under the district clerk and the county clerk, they are the clerks, and the people that work for them are like deputy clerks. But we'll work that out with the
On Tondas, did we did we agree or not agree on just on the civil attorney?
she is going to fund that out of the grant money.
Right, but it wasn't on there, right?
Right. It's paid for through the grant, and that's why it's not on there. Honda has complete control of the grant money. It doesn't go through our budget. And how it gets applied to the different people in her department. Okay. So tax collector in IT, we have a new position in IT to help support the radio public building. Got that. Communications director, this is zeroed out here because it's in the sheriff's department. So it's not in our bill. Constables. Explain what we're doing here. Because
Well, according to the grant, you can. The funds, with the funds for the constable grant or.
They will pay us, we have to contribute 75% of the constable salary. They'll give us 25%. So
You had me raise the constables to 50.
And then they
and then
get
the grant's
certificate,
gonna pay us back 50.
right, actually it's 54 with certificate pay,
Yes.
which is over here.
You can't see it.
Oh, I hid the column.
Yeah.
Apparently,
We will get we should get a reimbursement for that particular.
right,
Constable in the amount of 50,000. Now, I didn't split the amount in the grant. I just put a revenue line at the general fund.
right,
Where there's winter supplements or supplements for there.
okay,
So that their salary will not be broken back.
That doesn't include certificate pay either, does it?
this 50,000 does not include certificate pay, it's another 4,000 for three of them.
Some of those assures us that the constables do qualify.
Okay,
And I get we get the report for Tommy and Jeff Holland. We're gonna have to talk to, Heath Burton and Pat. We'll need to start getting reports from them,
okay,
so that we can have the documentation of their work.
all right. All right, now we got DPS, we are responsible for the administrative assistant they have over there. The extension service that they're primarily paid for through the AgriLife, and then we pay a certain fee right there, or a certain amount for it, plus we provide them with the facility. Okay, and then in the collections departments, we've got we budgeted an 8% increase for all the part-time hourly people. Is what we did. So 8% increase in that. Courthouse security, that would be one position here as opposed to being in the sheriff's department. It's over here in the courthouse. Communication coordinator. And then the library. There is an election supplement that is to help pay for some of the existing employees for the work that they do during election time. Indigent health, that is a requirement of the state that we offer indigent health services to the county. And that is the person that does that. And then the fire marshal that also handles septic systems and all. So increase roughly $700,000, $750,000 increase just for the county from the previous year. So, any questions? Suggestions? Are we good with this?
We're good.
Okay, move on, road and bridge.
We're
Get up so I can see the bottom of the screen. Where's my mouse? All right. Here are the different road and bridge. Pretty much every precinct has a foreman, 2 crew leaders, and we did add her request additional road hand for precinct 2 and precinct 3, which gives them 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Is that correct? And I believe precinct 4 has 5 and precinct 1 has 7 road hands.
No, that's. I should have paid. Put a new position in there for me.
That only counted for crew leaders, or That's not including the crew leaders.
right,
You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You got 5 right now.
New position, like I said.
correct.
Yeah.
And then,
This road and bridge. What we do on these roads and the bridges increases every year. And there, and
what is the new road hand going to be doing? What,
my road is required to do everything. They will, if they don't, I'm on the line. If they are familiar with every Facebook group, they have a CDL. That's what I'm doing. Operate there, except some of them are not familiar with the play. With
maintain?
other than that, all of them, you know, they track those. Big rubber tire wheel loaders, backhoe, mowers, all the tractors. They have to check and know. I think this raise, it's gonna help. We can get some new employees.
Are you fully staffed now?
I've got eight employees now.
Okay.
I'm full staff.
How about you?
I am fully staffed right now.
With that, how about you, Brad?
You good?
All right. Well, again, part of the reasoning behind the raises is to try to keep people working here in the county for, and not be enticed away for higher wages. So that's, and in the process, you gain a lot of, there's a value to having experience. So that one, they know how to do things quicker, and two, you avoid mistakes that are going to be very costly to you in the long run, or could be costly to you in the long run. And that encompasses all the positions that we've got. So we want to, and as Brandon talked about, next year we'll look at doing a longevity program to try to help maintain those that have been with the county for some time. So
I think, and I'm gonna be the oddball here. We're talking about adding positions. My feeling is I have, 8, including the foreman. There's only so much that we can do with the money that we got. And I'd rather just have 8 as a full-time crew. And then maybe bump them up a little bit instead of adding positions, because you only have so much money that you can deal with. That's my opinion. And I'm probably not popular, but that's my opinion. I mean, you can have 10 people, but you still only got X amount of money that you can do it with.
right.
It may get done a couple weeks faster, but for my one summer of experience, it took me about 8 weeks to get rid of my money on the roads. And then there's still 5 weeks of summer left. I mean, I'm about done.
Yeah, but then with growth,
Well, I'm out of money.
well, but I'll say one thing, you've got the best road in the precinct.
I'll agree.
And, you know, because you've been, years ago, when you had a commissioner that done the roads correctly, and You can do it, good road.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, I'm in a different spot than y'all, especially Keith, so, I mean, I know that, but that was just a suggestion from me.
Any further discussion on Road and Bridge? All right. I believe that's all the departments, correct?
If they want to see what just the supplement's gonna pay, you click on that SO and J supplement.
Well, I haven't edited
You
it
have edited.
to, I can do it.
It's okay.
Oh, this one right here? Like that one right there?
Uh,
I'm trying, sorry.
This will be the positions that are running from the salary supplement and then that can go all out. Well,
That's it.
if you go down anymore.
I can. If I can get the mouse to work.
Okay, there it is. That's the total of salaries that are going to be fully from the grant. And then I moved the remainder of that down to put.
Right,
That's from the sheriff's office.
yes, sheriff's office.
I don't have control over it yet. She will send a letter and tell me.
Okay. So,
So we actually freed up that much money in the county, in the general fund, budget.
right,
We freed up that.
Well, on the R&B, nobody said anything about my suggestion. Not worry about adding an employee to what we have and upping their salary a little bit. Nobody said anything. Well, agree with that.
well, I agree with it, but it's up to you guys to
Right.
make that decision because it's your department, so.
What do you want to do?
Rather
Well,
than,
my suggestion is like, and once again, I know every precinct is different with the roads, but like I have 8 people. Okay, and you're one to add one. And Chad's one to add a secretary and another hand, and I don't know if Keith's going to add another one or not. Instead of adding one and using that money for them, why don't we just, I think, to get our road hands more compatible with everybody else, bump them up to 45 instead of paying for an extra person. Because it goes back, you can only do so much with so much money. Are you gonna
what you're
are you
saying,
gonna be getting more productivity by adding a hand, or are you just gonna be getting it done quicker? We probably can still get the same things done, just in maybe a longer period of time. Instead of adding, just get done quicker. It's good, because the situation I'm in now, when I started overlaying, I mean, we rolled, and now I'm about out of money. And it's only first week of August, and if I had more money, I could go all the way into September. And if I had 2 more employees, I might have been done a week ago. So is an extra employee actually going to increase your productivity or just make it faster? Does that make sense?
Where does payroll, road bridge, employees come from?
Out of your individual. Part of which one?
But more than already, you can decide, let's call it, or what they might marry people along, say that payroll is 45, here, 45. We're looking at this not.
Because I know going back to that baseline salary that we're talking about, trying to structure. When I did those counties, the average for a foreman was 51, and the average for the road hand was 45 to 46. That was the averages. And I'm just, and the foreman is there, I was just trying to get the road heads there too.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine, Brandon, but you're gonna be taking money out of your road and bridge material to give it to them if you wanna,
Or we could be taking money out of adding employees.
out of the rest of our accounts.
That's why.
I'm not looking at the not have more money there because I've had an employee.
The Henderson County, they started, road and bridge starts at 39,105, and then they go from 46 to 261. So that's what their road and bridge ends are at. 46, so that's pretty close to, we're getting there.
You're right in between.
Yeah.
We paying what cap want, let's just don't wanna raise the cap. For that. What do you pay?
I think that, you know, I think this is a good start to get $6,000 raise. And we're kind of in between what Henderson County pays.
I think it's a fair amount. And the part-time, what is, are y'all using that? Are y'all spending the part-time?
I use my part-time, I wish I could hire more part-time.
Do too.
I use my part-time.
That kind of goes back to what I was talking about. Instead of hiring a full-time employee year-round. Maybe put more money into the part-time, because it seems like the summertime you could use it, but in the wintertime, can you really use an extra employee?
You know, yeah,
Cleaning dishes, you clean out the dishes.
yeah, that's what you gotta do, and during the spring and summer, you're working on roads, bridges. But in the winter, you work on clearing brush out of ditches, cleaning your ditches, hauling, I've got like 32 bridges at the TxDOT overseas, and they give me instructions every year, a book about that thick.
That's work that needs to be done.
Work that has to be done around those bridges. So that's kind of what I do in the winter months. We take care of those bridges with, and then I send that report to TxDOT, tell them, well, here's what I've done on the bridges, you know. So, yeah, my guys say this,
I'm not opposed to it, I'm just trying to make suggestions.
yeah,
Like you said, I mean, you have the bridges, I don't have the bridges.
I know.
You do, and then Keith's got the gumbo, I don't have that, everybody's different.
The black clay. All right. So we've gone through all the salaries. I guess the other thing that we're gonna have to approve is the elected officials, which is what and part of the reason why I objected last time was because where our fund balance was going to be after everything, but we have done quite a bit of work and reduced that deficit.
Can I interrupt just a second?
You may.
Before you go into that, I had one more question on, back on the clerks. You said you tried to make all the church clerks the same now
Yes, we did.
in the courthouse? Well, in the treasurer's office, why shouldn't that clerk be an assistant clerk?
The clerk,
You're
you
correct.
talking about April's job?
Yes.
I'm not real good at calling names.
April is, well, there's only two people, it's Irma and April. The April is a payroll clerk. I mean, she handles all the payroll. For the whole county. And, so, are you saying we need to?
Should we put her at the same level as a JP clerk? Is what we did.
I understand that, but we just said we even them. And all the clerks are even, but they're not even.
Well, for every department they are.
The the treasurer's department is not following the same guidelines as the clerk's office.
So
Okay.
we evened them all other than treasurer's fund.
The treasurer department, we follow the guidelines of the deputy is at one rate. And the clerk is at the same clerk rate as the JPs. Which is like a clerk too.
Well, maybe that office should have a chief deputy and assistant deputy.
We couldn't call them deputies because we're not deputies.
Right. Anything else?
No, sir.
Sorry, go on.
Now you can go.
Okay. So here's the deal. We are below the 1.5 million. Going into the fund balance for the fiscal year 2024 at the current time. However, we have not budgeted anything for contingency for the county. And typically that needs to be at least 500,000, right? What did we budget this year? Do you know, 600,000? And I'm not sure how much we've spent out of it. The advantage to it is we could still put it in there and it doesn't mean it's money spent. But
That's the key point. It was not a clerk, it's money more than I read. Should be better.
okay, JP. It's title clerk too. Tell me what it needs to be. Tell me what y'all are comfortable with.
Something with a title that says payroll clerk.
That lady does a whole lot more than pay.
Are you back, Joe? Do you have something to?
Just one question.
Yes,
I
sir.
have two part-time employees. I know y'all are gonna address part-time employees across the board. Did that get addressed?
If they're hourly, they should have gotten an 8% increase.
Did you get 8%?
Yes,
That's what I need to know.
yes. Yeah, all the hourly got an 8% increase.
Thank you.
You bet.
I think our contingency, I don't have it right in front of me, but it started out like at 850, we're down to 665.
So we've done two.
Most of that was the jail box.
So do you think
That was like 160.
And that had been
payroll?
actually supposed to be paid at the prior year and was in the budget for that, so.
I think I'll agree with Keith. I think on the treasurer, the payroll clerk. I think she should get paid the same as an assistant deputy. That's,
She shouldn't be a payroll clerk. She should be, that position should be assistant deputy.
All right,
And I keep him with your titles. And he can pay.
I just see more to pay any back.
she may get more than that, that's the person.
all right. So we're all in agreement.
I think that
Instead of it becomes assistant clerk or assistant deputy.
Okay, if you are gonna start speaking, I'm gonna pick behind. You're giving the treasurer, the $7,000, raises the mine, I'll get the 5, and we do it. So. Here's the average of the mine. You set miles and you listen to the video and all you'll know it does work, it's not. Miles. My girls are well underpaid, my first assistant deputy was Michelle King. Is gonna be paid 53,880. The average is 61,582. And second assistants are gonna be making 49,890. And their average should be 52,800. So I respectfully ask the court, if you're gonna give the treasurer's office 7,000, my girls get the same.
Did you get these from those? So a lot county the city, the average,
These are all within 50,000. I'm not gonna tell my girls they're getting high and the girls go across, you understand? Not fair. My girls do.
All right, what is fair? What would you like to see your girls get?
I'd like to see them to the average.
You like to get 7,000.
No, he wants to see them get to the average.
What's the average value of that?
61,582 from Miss Kenny and 52,800 from my others.
What would the increase in salary be?
I agree 100%, Sandy, but if we're gonna get them the average, we need to get our clerks the average.
I think I would agree with you more, but everybody else is still below the average. Not a lot more. But still below it.
Well, I want my girls to at least have $7,000 raises. I mean, there's people in here getting teams,
I agree, Sandy.
so I want my girls to be treated fairly. I'm the only one that can go back home, so I'm going to.
We can change the name of the position and get more money.
You are saying, you're asking me. Now we're gonna have to manage a supplemental grant. Which is gonna fall on my office, we're gonna have to apply for that grant and manage that grant. You've added the ARP money to my office. We have, Nicole has been fantastic with managing all of the auctions this year. You know, there's a lot of work that goes to an auction that falls on my office. Right now, we're in the middle of a tower project. I mean, there is so much being added, just the menu this week, the agenda has an energy audit. Who's gonna do the energy audit? My office. My girls cannot continue to be added upon. I've got 2 of them on FMLA, everybody cries they don't have any help. But when we have an individual on FMLA, they have to be on. And I pick the load up on the weekends. You know, that's not their fault. They have issues that have to be dealt with. But they're working diligently to keep their work up while they're having to be off with their loved ones as well. So, I'm not going downstairs and telling them the people across the hall at 57 and 55. Not gonna do it.
So you have a first, a second, and then
Have a first and 2 administrative, 2 assistants.
2 assistants. First.
It's about a $12,000 difference between what they're currently making and what the average is.
If you will give them the same amount that the deputy clerks are getting, I mean, I at least want them to have $7,000 each. If you'll give them $7,000 each, I'll be happy.
7,000 on top of what their
No.
salary is.
Just 7,000 each.
2,000, I think that's fair. Now it gets back to the baseline because, I mean, she's right, I mean. The first assistant is still $8,000 off from the average. If we give her 2,000, it'll be $6,000 off, which is about par with everybody else.
No, it's 13,000 off,
No, the average is 61,
and they're currently making 48.
you gotta make it 53. So that's 8,000.
Okay, no, they're making 48 this year. Oh,
Not about what we're proposing,
oh,
53,
okay,
61, that's 8,000. And we'll get, actually, it's say 54, so we're $7,500 off, we'll be $5,500 off from the average if we give them to 7. And that's about par with everybody else. We're not to that average, but we're pretty close to it.
all right, is everyone okay with 7,000? What was that? Are you okay with that?
I'm okay with that.
I'm good with that.
All right, make the change. Is there any others that we need to discuss?
And the treasurer is gonna be the assistant.
Should we just,
Payroll clerk,
well, no, I think we agreed on this.
assistant. All right. And we're gonna work on titles and after this is all done, so that we can
So is the treasurer clerk gonna go to the 41,000?
That is what they have said, yes. All right, are we done with salaries? No, well, I am very comfortable with the rest of the budget. I just need to figure out where we're gonna do with contingency. If we're going to try to find it. Or just add that amount to what the current amount is as far as going into the fund balance. Where do we need to be on the contingency?
I'd like to see at least, $500,000.
That's, I agree.
And it needs to be set up for emergencies only.
Right.
And everyone needs to try to work within their budget to move their money around as long as they can.
Right.
They need to be made to do that, not just say, oh, I want to give it out. I want to give it out.
Right. Well, the county contingency is not available to the departments, is it?
It's your call, if you do it, your own call,
Okay,
the court's call.
okay.
I don't know if you wanted to put the workshop, the one I fixed for you.
I didn't, did you put it out there? I haven't loaded it.
I loaded it this morning.
Okay, well, I guess the question is, do we need to look at, what else? That is the only thing that I know of right now that needs to be addressed is a contingency amount. And if we put $500,000 in there, then it puts us at 2 million, just shy of 2 million on the, going into the fund balance. But that contingency doesn't mean we're gonna spend it. So that's only there in the event of emergency that where we would have to do it. And so I'm comfortable with doing it that way. And if you guys are comfortable with doing it that way, then as far as I know, we're done with the budget process.
Where are we gonna get the money for the contingency from?
We don't have, we only are budgeting it in the event it's needed. So it'll go into the fund balance if it gets used. Otherwise, it gets returned to our fund balance at the end of the year if it's not used.
We're earmarking out of reserves and we should reserve, right? And we don't need to go back and reserve.
Which is what has happened every year in the past. Because what happens, Sandy, if we have an emergency and we had no contingency?
We had to go more money in the past.
They had, you can't,
You can't increase your budget. Can you get to the workshop?
I can find it, yes.
It's August the 3rd.
What we're saying, we think this region is reserve.
Right.
Here.
Not once you fix
No.
your budget, you can't get it.
We're just moving it over.
So
We're just allocating it in the event that it's needed. But if it's not needed, then it will just remain in the fund balance.
Well, and it can't never be moved without coming to the court. So I mean,
It's more of a paper number crunching thing.
And a second thing I want the court to, while you're looking for that, is I want to, in the budget policy this year, I want to put that no funds will be moved from the salaries, the person. Stop that.
To pay for
If
anything.
I agree with that 100%.
personnel money is set aside for personnel, and that way, if there's any money left, that'll secure rolling into the fund balance. You know, if an elected official chooses not to fill that position, like we have some that's had positions that's been there for a couple of years and not been filled, then that will secure that money to go back into the fund balance. I just say we don't move personnel meeting.
Eric, you have enough in another area of your budget? We want to move anything later in the year?
I'm sorry, band here.
Well, like the past year, we got unexpected spending related.
Yeah, you did.
We plan for that in this month, but
Plan for
Hold on, scroll way up, so I'm trying to,
that's why I'm there.
What did you say?
It's on your driving. On your driving.
all right.
So August the first.
Want me to go to the top?
Yes.
It's a scroll bar. Cause it's off the screen.
Oh, you're way up there. Oh, what are you doing?
There you go.
This is your general fund. This is all of the funds that make up the general fund. Here's our fund balance that I'm projecting for 2023, 11,294,000. We're gonna have revenue. This right here is the transfer to and from, and when I say transfer to and from, all of the tax money goes into the general fund here. So once a month, I have to move money to cover these funds, mainly the jail, the sheriff, and indigent health, and the library. So that totals, we're moving this much money to cover those funds. I'm sorry. So we're looking at revenue of 17,550 coming in, expenditures 19. So you can see you're getting into your reserve $1,400,000. Now, once we do that, we're still gonna have 9,800,000. But I'm moving 600, I'm moving 6 million into a fund where we can't get into that. That is going to be your contingent, that's gonna be your reserve fund. And that, you would only get into that.
But our auditors recommend for 6 months worth of operating expenses in the event of an emergency.
So at the end of the year, if we, you know, if all the money comes in and we spent every money, all the money that we had budgeted for, we would have 6 of it would be gone. So
Right.
you'd have 3 million items. And that's with getting into your meeting. So the only, you know, my concerns are if you get it, once you budget a recurring budget here,
Expense, recurring expense.
then this fund balance right here, this 3 million is only gonna hold for 2 years, because you're gonna be getting in that time. You know, I don't know what the property tax you're gonna do, you know, I don't have a crystal ball. I can just tell you what you're looking at. I know in 2027, Chad, is that correct? You're going to inherit, 2028, you've already voted as a board to take on a $500,000, regular
Expense, annual expense.
that we have. We're hoping to recover those funds from, rent space on the towers. That's our hope.
Well,
Can't guarantee that.
the hope is that,
Things you have to remember,
Right.
you are obligating towards prior, after you. You know, you may still be here, you may not. But that's kind of like when we got into your projects on the dams in your precinct, Commissioner Weldon, in 1962, the court signed a contract that we would be responsible for those dams. And it just so happened we did get a federal grant that paid 95% of the repairs that had to be done that year. And, you know, I'm a firm believer in God will provide. He's always providing this year. And so, you know, sometimes we have to just rely on him. And this 2-year grant, we'll have to rely on him.
right,
Because he made a way for these salaries to be possible this year. You know, he funded us with the state comptroller grant this year, so.
And-
So in October 1, what will be left in our general fund?
This right here,
How much of that?
11,294,000.
So we're basically adding a million this year,
Yes.
and we added two plus million last in 2022. So there's the 3 million.
And those are coming from, I mean, I've looked at the revenue, I've looked at the projections of the revenue and expenditures. The revenue will be over a little bit, expenditure will be under. So,
And next year, we're not gonna have this substantial amount of money on salaries when it increases. We just got the baseline, and it costs us a bunch this year. It's not gonna cost that much next year or the years forward, because we're finally up to where we need to be, and it's gonna be less.
I disagree with
your funding. Reoccurring costs will come out this year, which are gonna follow.
Right.
you. You're gonna get. You're gonna get $500,000 from the state of Texas for raises next year, or for this year.
This year,
If
next,
you don't give raises next year, I'm telling you, the state of Texas is not gonna give you another $500,000.
I didn't say we weren't gonna give raises, I'm saying it's not gonna be as substantial as it was this year.
Well, you're talking about your longevity program.
We can use the grant for the equipment. We don't have to give it for raises. So we can buy vehicles.
I mean, we gave them,
If we felt like it was needed. But you gotta remember, all the surrounding counties are getting the same money. And we don't know what they're gonna use theirs for, but
That's right. So all I'm disagreeing with Brandon on is you'll be out just as much money on
Right.
raises,
yeah,
new raises next year as you are this year.
we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
okay. All right, anything else you wanna show us?
That will be 3 million eight, because I'll put 6 million,
Right,
there.
but that doesn't mean we don't have money, but
And then if
so
we
what,
increase this by $500,000, then that'll pull that down to 3 million.
so of that 6 million. What would be the procedure to access that in the event that we needed, if we had an emergency or something?
It would have to be a tornado, it would have to be I forgot the term.
Catastrophic event,
Catastrophic.
okay,
We had a tornado come through, we need some of the funds, I think the court would agree that was catastrophic.
right. Okay,
But that's why you budget that 500 million, that $500,000
right,
to get in here, because you can't really get into this fund balance unless you have a catastrophe. You can move money around, you can do line on transfer, but you can't increase your budget.
so we're in agreement, go ahead and budget to 500,000 in the contingency. For the next year,
Sure.
I'm good with it.
okay. So that basically brings us down to. See if I can find it. Is the elected official salary. Are we going to approve that?
Can they look at the ad so that we make sure?
Yeah.
that
I have it somewhere, I just. It's underneath all of these over here, so let me see if I can't close these.
Can you get your X there?
No, I don't want to. There we go. There's the ad.
The thing I got into last year was I did not show your travel allowances. And so this year. You'll see your travel allowances with your increase. And the certificate pay, I did budget the certificate pay at the maximum base pay, and I said official may or not hold the certificate. Because that way, if Constable Monk See, he is not a master's peace officer. But if during the year he was to become a master's peace officer, we could go ahead and bump him up. Because elected official salaries, once y'all set them, they cannot be changed.
Right.
The employee salary can be changed an elected official once the court sets it, which will be August the 16th. We go through the previous process. That has to stay for the code. So. I hope. If there's something glaring there, let me know. Because that was one of the things, that's what cost y'all got to track. That happened, yeah.
So is everybody comfortable with this? I'm comfortable with the budget as it is.
Well, I'll tell you, I think we're setting ourselves up for failure. You're gonna probably be one of the few counties, if not the only county in the state of Texas, that the constables make more than the
That's
JP.
what I'm saying, I don't get that, that throws it all out of whack, the elected official salary.
Constable's average median salary between the counties our size is 48.5. And out of all these, everybody is below the median. Except for the constable. The constable is actually above the median. But everybody else is below. And I think what, especially Chad and Keith have been harping on is, you know, to be fair in the baseline, if we're gonna do that, we need to make it. We need to make it fair. I mean, we're all below, but you know, I think the constable should be at the 48.5 plus certificate pay.
What would that make? Plus,
52.
But you're getting your money back on constables from the grant.
But it still goes back to, we're trying to get a structure, we're trying to get a structure.
You're gonna lower the amount to get from your grant. That's a already, you have to have 45. It have to be set at 45.
I think 48.5, and that is the median. And they're at the median, where everybody else is actually below the median, but they're at the median. JP's, the median is 58.8. And they're at what, 53.5, so they're 5 below.
You also have to look at a constable, what is your officer's name?
What's not
What is your deputy's name? 50,000?
for the coming year, they're gonna be at 53, 159.
And those constables are helping the sheriff out a lot. You sure don't want to stop doing that.
Oh, I think the constables are good. I really, JP's, you got a good point, valid point on JP's, may need to be making more.
But if we want to stick with what we've been preaching
Okay,
to make it a fair baseline, I think that's what we need to do.
what's that?
48.5 for the constable plus
Certificate pay.
Well, did you say they were good with what you had?
Yes, and I explained to I believe it was Pat and Heath. I said, y'all ain't gonna be happy with this because y'all are the least amount, but I explained it to them. And basically they said, I don't agree with you, but I understand and I think it's fair.
So they're getting more than what they agreed on.
As of right now, they are, yes.
I mean, yeah, with your 48.
Yeah,
So what if you took 2,000 off on the constables and add 2,000 to justice of the peace? That'd be a neutral effect on the budget.
Well, I definitely think that would probably be good. Because the JP are down. We've got.
We need to have the JP to start, we'll make more fun. I don't know if we take a constant, we're paying a civil process there, we do basically the same job, way more than that. If I was in, that's the direction I would go better.
Explain that again. Would you repeat what you said of it?
The workman a civil process there, he was doing a real similar job as Jay did. 55 or something like that. If I was a JP, that's the direction I was going. Maybe not, they think we have.
Apparently they were happy at what.
What's the JP? But JP, but then you.
What I do too, I think we need to offset. Instead. I think we need to switch it around.
Well, still, if we take 2,000 off, because right now the constables are at 54. And if we just make them 52 and then make the JPs 55.
That's what I think we need to do.
Not
Let it
let
out.
that.
Yeah,
They're actually. That's it. I don't know about swamping, I agree with JP didn't come up, I don't know where it's not come up.
Well, I kind of take 1,500 off the constables and add to the JPs, and plus the constables get certificate pay, and they're at 52. They're still above the median.
that's it. Getting comfortable.
You gotta stay with that baseline.
So, current proposal on the table. Make the constables 52. Is that
No.
correct?
You talking about
What's
what's certificate pay?
I'm looking at the last line on the right,
Switching to 1,500 on it.
right,
I was just looking at this. Their proposed salary should be 48.5 instead of 50.
okay,
And the JPs should be 55, correct?
If you add 1,500, what they are.
Yeah.
okay.
Taking 1,500 off the constables, adding it to the JPs.
Yeah.
Everybody good with that?
Well, JP's gonna be 55,000, our constable's gonna be 48,500 plus 55.
That's right.
Correct.
JP's gonna be how much?
55. And their median is 59.
You good with that, Keith?
Yes, sir.
All right. All right, we will, unless I hear objections, we will move forward with that plan.
Just agreeing with what you've got there on that, Tim. The newspaper ad, that's.
This is the proposed ad
Okay,
that we're looking at, and now we've made changes.
I agree. to
So
that.
we will scratch these out and pencil in the new numbers, and that's what we will send to the paper.
How much the JP will be?
55.
55. The new number for constable will be 48.5
Plus certificate.
plus certificate pay.
That's the route.
All right, any other discussions? Any other items to address? All right. Not, then this is what we'll propose on Wednesday afternoon. I don't see a need to have a budget workshop in the morning. I don't, but we may have one Friday. If something comes up, have it scheduled, but maybe short if there's something that needs to be changed. But we're supposed to file the proposed budget by when?
August the 10th.
August the 10th. So I'd like to file it by Friday. If so we'll go ahead and schedule the workshop for Friday morning at 9, and then it may be short and sweet, and then we'll move on. Is that good? Y'all agree? All right. Then that should conclude our workshop for today. They're still recording until I can figure out how to. Oh, there we go.
Come on.